Record.
Okay.
Okay, so we're recording. We were just catching up on how you embody badassery as a person.
Yeah.
And I'm going to read Many Lives, Many Masters, and we're going to have an awesome conversation about it. And it's going to be beautiful.
Oh, it's gonna be so transcendental. Like it's gonna be something that will completely flip you upside down, and then you're like, oh my gosh. But at the same time, because you're already connected to source, to God, it's like it won't feel that much of a like, oh, it'll more be like a uh-huh. And that's
Smaller,
that's like
smaller line, smaller line. I'm going to use that, and I'm going to use that to people who have no concept of what I'm saying. I'm going to
yes.
be like, smaller line. That's for me, not for you, but smaller line.
I laugh when I
I think I like it too
oh.
because you just laughed so much that nothing came out, and I do that when I laugh hard.
I
Like,
watched a little like someone posted like a TikTok story and they said people don't understand, but I have like 17 different laughs. She was going through like all her laughs and I was like, ah! I have so many laughs. I was like, I could definitely do
I
one.
would love for you to like video your laughs. Be like, okay, here's a laugh,
Oh my god, you're
boom,
not the first
because
person that
that
may
would
do that.
be. I don't even care how long it would take to watch. That would be
Have you ever
so
heard
amazing.
of laughter yoga?
Yeah,
I was told by multiple people to be a laughing yoga teacher.
I could
And
see that.
I was like, I've never done a class though. So I'm like, I have to go and try it first before I ever think like I could do this. You
Well,
never
and the
know.
nice thing is, it doesn't have to be what other laughing yoga classes were.
Yeah, it's my own.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
I just like she told me, Rosie told me that I'm gonna fall in love with you even more when you laugh. And I was like, okay. And then I saw some of your videos and I was like, girl, you did not lie. That is fabulous.
Oh, my
I
Rosie.
know she's fab. All right, so um, do you feel available to continue
Oh yeah, we can continue.
from um,
Then I met my boyfriend,
first real boyfriend?
the first real love. Oh my
Yes, and you
god.
were 18 or 19 by this point. I can't
I was
fully.
nine- I was
19.
I was 19 by this point.
Okay.
Yeah, so was I 19? Because I was 18, 2010. I moved to Miami January, and then I was 20.
Okay. So it's the same year you met Rosie.
It was the same year I met
Okay.
Rosie. The
Okay.
same year I met Rosie.
Very impactful year.
Very impactful year, actually. Yeah, very impactful year. So I met him. I met him in when is oh it's what is the date? I think it's March. No, January, February, March, April, May. Ah. I can't remember
It
the.
was early in that year.
Yes, it was early in the year.
I'm sure I'll
It,
come back to you and you'll blurt it out. It's cool.
I remember that I had this roommate that had left me and had placed two people.
One
A
pregnant.
that was the woman was pregnant, and I was just like, all right, well, if we're just like not like nothing matters, I need to find myself like a man. I need to find something. Like I can't, like I just like, I can't. So I began to just like go on Instagram, and Instagram was just kind of starting ish, and like it was transitioning from like Facebook to Instagram, and I had gotten an Instagram and I had already gotten like a lot of followers, which this is my I've gone through so many Instagrams because I've gone through like ego deaths and then I would just delete everything. It's very interesting. And so when I was trying to find him, I had a lot of following. I had like, and for that time period to have like 300 likes on a picture was a lot. So I had
Hmm.
like 300 to 600 likes on pictures, and I used to get a lot of people that'd be like, "Hey, oh, what are you doing? How are you? This and that," and like, I mean, flirting is flirting, it's whatever, but like you have to say something that really like jolts me for me to be like, "Oh, who are you?" You
Well,
know?
yeah, because you were like, nobody's getting in this thing. No.
Uh a lot of people got in this thing, so I didn't care that much.
No, your heart. I was pointing up here.
All right, okay, no, not here.
Ah,
Oh my God. Okay, so yes, the heart.
I can't hug you hard enough. I'm just telling you right now. Love you. A lot of people got in here. That's not. You have made my 2021 already. Like fabulous. Let's go on to next year. I'm ready. So, so, so go ahead.
Okay, so yes, so I wasn't letting anyone into my heart. Absolutely
No.
not. Zero. And so I remember, I don't know if I found him or he found me. I feel like I found him. And he had a motorcycle and tattoos. So I was like, this looks nice. And I messaged him and I was like, love the bike. And then he was like, let me know when you're available and I can teach you to ride it.
Well played, sir.
Very well, Brian.
Not gonna lie, I just got a little warm here. Because I also ride motorcycles, so I'm like, whoa, whoa. Did he just reach out to me too? Like fabulous. Okay.
And so I was like, damn, like it wasn't like, let me come scoop you. It was like, let me teach you. And I was like, oh, that's so fucking hot. Like, yeah, for sure.
Yes.
When do you want to meet? Like, what? Yeah, for sure. So he comes to my house, and at this point, I'm living on the beach, and I'm like, I can't. Memorial Day weekend,
May.
May, Memorial Day weekend.
I knew it'd come.
So it's Memorial Day weekend, and in Miami, Memorial Day weekend, they closed down the entire Ocean Drive, and it's just crazy. It's great. I had never seen anything like it in my life.
I didn't know they did that.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And so I was like, oh, let's go, like, let's go to Ocean Drive. And like we walk, he's like, I'm like trying to like understand him, and like he's already taking pictures with me, already like calling me his queen. And I was like, I had never felt so wanted so quick, like you are mine, like that. I had never felt that. And I don't know if it's just because he's Spanish, but Spanish men are like that. And I had never really been around a lot of Spanish men growing up. Like it was like I was the only Latina in my entire school in high school. In Lewiston, New York, oh my God, I would correct the Spanish teacher. Like,
No,
like I was
bien.
the
No.
only, there was 2 Black kids and me. That was it.
Oh, it's so diverse.
In the entire freaking high school.
Oh.
So whatever. But they were all very open, which was really beautiful. Which was very like, whoa, cool. So um so whatever. And like, I should have seen already the signs, but like I was just like so like and we got really drunk. And I remember that night we ended up having sex. He leaves, and then he starts to like want to see me like every day. And then I remember one day he gets really drunk and very weird and then throws in my face, who knows what kind of girl you are because you had sex with me the first day. And it was like 10 days later. And I was like, is he like already making me feel like bad about myself?
Mm-hmm.
But like, I was so low. I was in such a low part that I was allowing anything. And then we kind of start dating. And then I start seeing different things. He would grab my phone and look at like the messages. And then I was like, this is not good. He would, and then he started to like notice my traumas. So
Uh-oh.
then
Oh, okay.
he began
To use them.
using everything against me. And since I was on such, it's you are going to attract, it's like what they say, your vibe attracts your tribe. My vibration was so low that I was able to connect with him on that same frequency. So our fights were horrible. It was yelling in the streets, it was crying in the streets, it was running away with the keys and running and him chasing me. It was him coming home at 6 in the morning and then pretending like nothing happened. There was a lot there. And him getting kicked out of his parents' house, he was 24, getting kicked out of his parents' house, him living with me, and me getting a good job at the Ritz Carlton as a server and paying for everything. And he never paid for anything. And then we ended up leaving that apartment, moving into a new one. Oh, by the way, the couple that stayed for 2 months, they told me that they were paying their half through the girl. When they left, I got an eviction notice,
Yeah.
and I
Knew
had
that was
to
coming.
have the money. Yeah, I knew that was coming, but I just was like, maybe they won't. They're nice. She's pregnant. Yeah, she's pregnant. They're trying to save money. Like they're not gonna pay you. So then we move into this new apartment, and I'm like starting to like make friends at the Ritz. I'm starting to like really create amazing like connections, and all the signs are there. Like it's really bad. It's really, really bad. And one of the things he does most is like poke at my weight.
Oh,
Is no he it's like from the beginning I let him know what I was afraid of, or like, oh, I'm afraid to get fat, or like, oh, I don't sorry.
it's a hairball. That's what dragons do. You're all good.
Cats. Oh my God. So so I'm with so now I'm with him, I'm making friends at the Ritz, and it's just like it's just interesting because like he's becoming more and more like aggressive with me. The weight issue is like he was always like he would like I would pour rice and he's like, are you sure you want to do that? And like just but in a way that it was like not nice.
Yeah. Well, no, anyway, it's not nice. Unless
Anyway,
you said, hey, I'm supposed to only have this much rice. And then he knew you had that much rice. And then be like, even then, you don't say it like that. It's like, you told me to point out when you had enough rice. You had enough
yeah,
rice, but whatever you want to do.
because that's the
There's,
way
yeah,
to do things and ways to just not do things.
correct. When it's not
And
trying to be controlling and dominant.
yeah. And then something happened where like I was just starting to like I was like, dude, like my 21st birthday, me and his dad had the same 21st birthday. 21st. Me and his dad had the same
Same
birthday.
birthday.
So I shared my 21st birthday celebrating his dad. And it was just like really interesting. I just his whole family wanted me to like be like break up with him.
Because they knew.
They knew. they saw everything that he was doing to me. They would see, there was one, I think it was New Year's. They watched him and I fight. We went behind like the boat that was parked in the backyard, and he was like fighting with me about how he saw that I was making eye contact with a certain cousin. I was like, dude, what? I'm just talking to your family. Do you want me to not talk?
Which is
I
insane because, yeah, you're. Although it's not insane because I don't know if you've noticed, but he was your stepdad fighting, and you were your mom, and so you were living out that whole thing. Please continue.
100%. And then he ends up, I remember he spits on my face.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
Hit me. He had never hit me or anything. And that was the first time that there was like a physical action. And like I almost threw up because I was so disgusted. And I was like, and then we were yelling, but it was like it was a very like,
Deliberate.
it was a very quiet yell. Like a very like aggressive, like, what are you doing?
And I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it's like,
It's like when you talk to your kids when they're doing something bad and you're like, what? Stop it.
stop it. Like you talking to that cat. No, this bag is mine. Don't you do it. Dragon Mom's coming. You mind your business. I know the hush yell. I know that.
And then when he did that, I was like, oh yeah? Oh yeah? Oh! Oh! Like I started yelling. And then his dad loved me. To this day, his dad loves me. I know he still does. And he ran and he's like, what is going on? And then I was like, spit on my face. And like, what is wrong with you? Like yelling at him. And like, he was drunk. He tries getting in the car, tries to drive away, wasted, like hits up, like it's like a whole thing. Things started to happen more fluently. And then he started to come home later and later and later and later. And then the one day he comes home and it's like 6 in the morning. I wake up, I'm listening to my music. And so then I hear banging on the door. I open the door and he's like, where is he? And I'm like, you're coming home at 6. Where's who? And he like runs inside. I know he's here. Runs to the kitchen, runs to the bathroom, runs to like, I'm on the second floor, looks over the wind, like out the window. And I'm like, you're crazy. You're crazy. So I go to sleep. And then in the morning, he pretends like nothing, cuddles me, pretends like, and I was like, get off. And he's like, what? He's like, you see, you love fighting. And I was like, get off. Don't touch me. We're not doing this. I'm not, don't touch me.
So would you say that was the first time that you can remember valuing your body as important?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
actually, it was when he spit on you.
That
But
was like, oh my God. But like, if you think about it, because we were together, so that happens through the new year. We were together January, February, March, April,
so almost a year.
June,
So over a year
over a year.
because
A
it
little
was
bit over a year.
Memorial Day from the year before.
Yeah. May, June. Yeah. So it was actually a year and a month that we were together. I guess I've always said a year and a half because it's easier, but it felt like a very long time.
I would assume.
So he so whatever, so he gets really angry. I remember there was like a mini fight. He leaves. I at this point I was just so over him, and there was just like a certain instant that he did, and I was just like, you know what, like I'm done. He ate all the Venezuelan chocolates that I had bought my mom, and I was gonna go see her, and he ate them all that night out of spite. I don't know, and all of the
Control.
in the and the trash, and I was like, what is wrong with him? And then I was like, you know what, this is it. I separated all of our clothes. I separated everything, even Tupperware that came from his mom's house. I separated everything. I put everything in the corner in 3 huge bags. I called him. I told him it's over. He came home. He destroyed everything. We started like fighting, and he was just like yelling and pushing things, and then the last thing, I was just sitting and I was so calm and I was so still. And he just was so annoyed that I was just not budging. And I was really like, this is it. Like, you need to leave. Calls his mom, and I'm like, hey, like, you need to, please, like, something's gonna happen. And like, nothing. And like, I was just like, and like, I was just like, I'm just gonna sit here until you leave. Like, you know, you gotta go. And the last thing he says to me is, he goes, you know what? Your kisses and the way that you are and the way that you love, great. But your body has never been on point. Dragon Woman came out. I like jumped off the bed and started punching his chest and punching and punching and punching and punching and punching. And like, I had never hit him. And I was just like going and going and going and going. And he stopped. And that's when he started ruining everything. And he like flipped the TV. He like went for the table, complete destruction. But he was finally out. And when he was finally out, I got really close to Rosie and wrote his name was Jafet. And she used to call him Jafar.
That's good.
She knew everything that was going on. I even got, when she met me, was it? No, she hadn't been working with me. But I had gotten pregnant with him and everything. And I lost the baby, and he blamed it on me.
So,
And
oh,
it
so you had a miscarriage,
had a miscarriage. And then
which at
I
some point, that's remember you saying, "Oh, I would just get rid of it," and the way you said that was such a different thing. So, okay, I'm with you.
so I lost the baby, but I get pregnant with him again in like, I think it was like March, and I aborted it. And that the abortion place was next to Venezuelan place where I bought the chocolates.
So you'd
And
see it all the time.
the end of something, the beginning of another. It was like the chocolates, the initiation. It's kind of funny. But so after that, I was broken. I went bulimic. I would throw up my food all the time. I would eat a lot and I would throw it all up. I would indulge. I would party a lot. I was getting super drunk. I was sleeping with whoever. I really didn't care. And I was like happy to be with anyone else that wasn't him. And then I met this girl, and she started working with me at the Ritz Carlton. And she was so cool, so nice. She had just gone from the Ritz Carlton in Puerto Rico to like transfer. She was a server, and she was just so cool. And one night she was like, "Oh, I want you to come out with me and my friends. They're also Puerto Rican." And I was like, "Yeah, for sure." And I go, and then she introduces me to her girlfriend. And I was like, "Oh." And she was like, "Yeah, like, I don't, like, I don't need people to know. I mean, you're super cool. So obviously, like, it doesn't matter." And I was like, "Oh, cool. Okay." And then when I met her girlfriend, I saw Jafet. It was the same energy.
Oh,
And I was like, oh. And it's interesting because I talk about her now, and she's changed so much. Because I like very weirdly like still kind of like not weirdly, it's actually beautiful that everything is like healed in this way, but like she's changed so much as a person too. Um, and so, anyways, I end up, they end up breaking up. She ends up living with me, and then I ended up being with her for 2 years. I ended up dating her for 2 years. And then if you look back at my past and like one of the situations that I told you about, it made me feel okay being with a woman. I didn't feel like there was anything, like it was fine. But one thing about her that it was like my soul needed her because she helped me to fully rebuild my confidence. She taught me how to love myself because she was the essence of self love. She was the essence of, I really don't give a fuck. Like, she doesn't care. Like, she was that. And, like, and it was so, like, whoa to me that it was like, you become who you surround yourself with. And I knew I wanted to surround myself with her. And then we just meshed and we mended like really well. So it was beautiful. It was so beautiful. But it was beautiful, but at the same time toxic in its own way because I was also almost jealous of her because I didn't understand how she was so confident all the time. She would fluctuate in weight and still wear crop tops and mini shirts and things. And I just like how? Why does she
It
care?
would boggle your mind.
Oh, completely. And then like towards the end, like we I was just at the point, it was like 2 years of like incredible healing, incredible amount of like, wow, like this is so beautiful. And hold on. So between Jafet and her and J, between them, I started meditating. And that's where the beginning of kind of a little bit of spirituality started. And I was 21. So I started kind of dabbling there. I taught her a little bit, and then I ended up just fully emerging in anything that she did. And she partied a lot. This is when I started partying a lot, and I started doing a lot of ecstasy and rolls and just like connecting. It's very interesting because at this point, I feel like even rolls helped me to feel because an ecstasy is just pure love. There's a point where you're in this infinite love, like source of love. And that's why, it was used so much in like the 60s and like, peace, love. And it like opens your heart so much. And God is love. So when you're in such a heart center, and you're someone that does kind of wants to dabble but doesn't know how, it's like I kept getting messages whenever I would roll, and it was really interesting. Oops. I love you. I'm on the call with Jeff. It was. I love you. Bye.
Was it? Hey, I thought it was at 1:30.
He goes, I thought I was at 30. Sorry, we talk. I'm sorry. Um okay, so I forgot where I was. Where was I?
Well, you were explaining She was partying to party, you were partying to attain something.
It was different.
Hmm.
And I could feel it. And then I could feel how sensitive I would get sometimes. And then I would also acknowledge how, like, she was just, nothing phased her too much. And so from there, like, we ended up breaking up, and I was just like, you know what, like, I need to, like, I think I want to be with a guy. I don't really know at this point. I'm just kind of like trying to figure this out. She ends up moving to California. And then it was like so many things start to happen. I had been doing Airbnb at my place. I get caught. And it was the same month that my lease was ending. My friend Samantha had ended up moving in with me. I end up not knowing where to go. I live with a friend of mine in his condo. Then I live with another friend of mine in like a house in downtown. Then I end up going back to New York and thinking maybe this is what I got to do. Maybe it's New York. New York spit me back to Miami. I had met this amazing old man. He was 75. uh, he was my Uber, and he had picked me up from the place that I was looking at, that I was looking to rent. He had picked me up from this place, and when he picks me up to take me somewhere, I had just looked at the spot, and the real estate agent was horrible. He was so mean. It was just a really horrible experience. And then I was just like, yeah, I don't know what to do. Like, I was just, like ranting, like, oh my God, this just happened to me. And he was just like, I think you just sat in the right car. And I was like, what? And he was like, I was going home. I live in the apartment complex in front. And my 30-year-old roommate, she's a comedian, she fell in love and she's moving in with her boyfriend. If you want, we can go over there. You can meet her and you can see the place. And I was like, you're kidding me. You're
Oh,
kidding.
God likes you. Okay, go ahead.
A lot. A
That's
lot.
awesome.
It was incredible. So then I was like, hey, I had already bought my tickets to New York. So I was like, let me see what I'm gonna do. I'll reconnect with you. I go to New York. I'm like, no, I can't do this. I come back. I live with him. I'm in Miami, and I'm just like, it's like all these different, like, it's like turbulence. Like, things are just not working for me. I end up doing an ayahuasca ceremony. Do you know what ayahuasca is? So, do you know what DMT is? Okay. Do you understand the pineal gland at all?
A little bit, yes.
Okay. And
From
or
from your
from my
yeah,
my okay. So the pineal gland is literally the third eye within the brain. It's the size, it's no bigger than a grain of rice. It literally looks like a pine cone. It has little crystals that spark together to create serotonin, melatonin, and DMT. DMT is being released when you dream. DMT is the last thing that's released when you die. And when and DMT is within every single living organism. Everything has DMT. Now, in different Indian cultures, they do a spiritual ritual with extracting DMT from plants and then making like a tea and then drinking it. So when it's digested, it's a different experience. It's like mushrooms. It takes like 8 hours to get through a mushroom trip. Ayahuasca is the same because it's like you're digesting it.
yeah,
Just like weed brownies, you're there and you're like, oh my God. And then you're like, is this ever gonna end? It's that.
yeah.
So um so then the DMT is extracted and it's like they take it out from they extract it from like a bark of a tree in the Amazon, and I believe it's Colombia and Peru and Colombia. And then they do a ceremony with it. So DMT is said that it's our spirit molecule. It's what I have a calendar reminder. I was gonna tell you it's our connection to God. And my calendar reminder is every day. It sounds 3 times a day, and it's just I have it to like connect to God. And if you look, it literally just says God.
That's awesome.
So if you want to just take a second to just thank you, God. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for everything. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
That's awesome.
So, um, okay, so it's our spiritual connection to God. It's like the portal. It's like I said before, it's almost like your cheat sheet to connect to God. It's the cheat sheet. And I do a ceremony, and it was horrible because it was like every single thing that I hated about myself, which was a lot, a lot. There was a lot of things I hated about myself. Everything came up.
Ugh.
And then they say that like to release it, you must like basically ayahuasca makes you throw up to heal, to purge everything out. And then I went to like you like leave the circle to go, but you're not really supposed to leave the circle for too long because there's a shaman holding space, making sure everyone is well. And if you go to get well and throw up, then you do it, try to do it as quick as possible and come back in.
Yeah.
I remember I was out there and I was just like seeing all these things and I was like, oh my God, I'm the worst person. I've slept with so many people. I am so horrible. I am a jealous person. I'm not good. I don't know how to share. I'm this. You know what? Like, I should die. I think I need to die. There's no point for me to be here. There's no point. What good have I done? And then I'm thinking this, and I'm throwing up, and I'm on like it's dirt, and there's just like they open up like a hole in the floor, and I'm just throwing up, and I'm just like, this is it. Oh, you need cuddles? This is it. And I'm like, I all of a sudden I feel a tap, and I'm like, and then I look, and it's like this man is in a black cloak, and then he goes, "Your time here is done." And he looked at me and he was like, "You have to come back into the circle." That was like I started laughing because I was like, I thought, yeah, I don't know how to explain to you what I thought you were, but yeah, you were the Grim Reaper. So that was like, it's almost like I allowed myself to die and then started the rebirth process. So now I'm starting to like realize and like, I'm just like, okay, like this is happening. I come back to the house. Bobby, the 75-year-old, he was a hippie, but like not a hippie. You wouldn't know, but he tripped on acid for like 10 years straight. He like he was on stage at Woodstock. Like he was so cool, and it's such a like I didn't have a grandpa. My mom's dad died when she was little. My dad's dad died when he was little. And like, I just didn't have any father figures, any grandpa, any nothing.
Yeah.
So it was also a battle in my mind to live with him because I was like, he's 75. Like, you know, you know. So it was just, and so then he was such grandpa vibes. Always like, hey, Steph, you doing good? You okay? Yeah, I'm good, Bobby. All right, just making sure.
But
And like,
but once again, that's something that you needed. You never had that.
I never had that. And to this day, he passed away. But to this day, he was my grandpa. He's the only grandpa I've ever had. That was my grandpa. Grandpa Bobby. Like Bobby was grandpa. I even got him a mug that said grandpa. He was like, "You making me feel old." And I was like, "Well, you're I don't know, you're like my grandpa. I can't help it." But I remember that day I came home and I was crying. And he was like, "Oh, honey, come here." And like I laid on his lap and he just pet my head. And like pet my head just like this. I love you. And and he yeah, and he was another part of my healing. But I started to really notice like things and I was like, I need to just like do something else with my life. I don't want to live in Miami. I need to get away from here. When I decided I didn't want to be in Miami, I had a friend that all of a sudden was like, "Hey, Steph, I'm moving to California. You want to come with me?" And I was like, "Yeah, for sure. I'll come." So we road tripped to California. It took us 3 weeks when it was supposed to take us 3 days.
Uh,
And we stopped everywhere. We were in incredible flow state. Then we get to California. Then at the time I was like doing photography, and I had a friend that was like, "Hey, I had already done like runway in Milan, Italy, and I had done runway with him, and I had gone there, and so then I ended up going and coming back to going back to California, and then he was like, "Oh, do you want to go to Barcelona with me now that you just touched California after 3 weeks? You want to go to Barcelona to shoot runway?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, let's do this." And then I found this boyfriend in New York City, and I went to New York City from Barcelona after like a week. I stayed with him for 3 months. I decided I didn't like him. I went to California. I kind of wanted to be with Jen. That didn't work out. I was there for like maybe a month and some. And then it was like everything was pushing me back to come to Miami. And when I connected with Bobby again, Bobby was like, "Steph, it's really weird that you're calling me and you're asking me like how things are going. The guy that took over your room, he just left one day to the other. He said his visa was up and he didn't know and he had to leave. And he's like, I have an open room if you need it. I don't really know." I was like, "Of course you do."
of course you do, Bobby. Grandpa Bobby, of course you do.
I moved back to Miami and now I'm like trying to figure things out again. I'm partying, but like, man, that ayahuasca ceremony really did something to me. And now I'm like constantly like meditating, but I'm still having like the traumas with my body. I'm doing a lot of fasting. I'm doing a lot of like, but like not like it's like juice fasting and cleanses. I lose a lot of weight, I gain it back. I lose a lot of weight, I gain it back. And then Bobby gets sick. Bobby gets cancer. And I couldn't see him like that. I just didn't know how to deal with it. And I'm also used to running away from things. So I was like, I can't, I can't watch you die. I just can't do it. I don't know how to deal with it. And he was just in the living room every day, like in his armchair, like slowly disintegrating. And his niece would come over all the time, like every day, and like wipe down his wounds. And I didn't know how to deal with that. And a friend of mine, Hurricane Maria, Puerto Rico happens, and I have a very big Puerto Rican community now, not so much, but I used to. And one of my friends basically got a new apartment with 2 extra bedrooms to bring in her sister and her best friend from Puerto Rico when the hurricane happened. So then her sister comes, her best friend comes, and then her sister's like, "I don't like Miami. I'm going back. I'll figure it out." So then she has this extra room, and I was like, "You know what? Maybe I'll just do that." And I move in with them. And it was like sisterly like things. I felt like I was living with my sisters. Like the bathroom's not clean, okay? Like it was like there was a lot of little things, but it was also
Normal.
normal. It was normal. It was normal. If I wanted to walk around the house naked, I could. If I wanted to do like it was starting to feel normal. And then I was meditating a lot, and I was doing things on like alkalinity. I was like having an alkaline diet. Everything was above a 7 in pH. I was vegan. It was like it was a whole thing, and I was really really diving as deep as I could. And so I get to a point where I'm like fasting and I'm feeling amazing. And now we are in October 2018. October 2018, I have the friend that had invited me to the ayahuasca ceremony, who is like one of my best friends. He's seen everything from like, he knows Rosie, Rosie knows him. It's like he's seen everything and my growth and everything. And he was like, oh, you should really try this DMT thing. It was beautiful. You would love it. And I was like, after my ayahuasca ceremony, I will not do any spiritual medicines whatsoever.
I met
Like,
the Grim Reaper, dude. Like it's cool.
I can't. And so it was just like, and then it was also like, you know what, like, I don't know, like, what do I have to lose? I'm just gonna try it. Fuck it. You know, if this is healing, like, it's not like it's heroin. It's not, it's, it hurts to heal. The healing process is not fun.
No.
So let me go. I'll just go do it. And so then I call the shaman, I call this guy, and then it's like, he was already near the cafe that I was at, and he comes, he does an interview, and he was just like, oh, okay, so are you ready? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay, when do you want to do it? And I was like, right now. And he was like, oh, right now. And I was like, yeah, right now. So this is a different kind of DMT. This is smoking DMT. When you smoke the DMT, mind you, it's crystals, but it's crystallized because the DMT is being pulled out from the poison of a toad. It's extracted. So there's a toad in Mexico that on the like its skin layer there's poison.
Yeah.
And in the pores there's poison. So they basically like take out the poison. They don't hurt the toad, and they take out all the poison, and then they extract the DMT from the poison. You dry out the DMT and it becomes like a crystal. It's just like clear. But when you're about to smoke it, it looks like you're gonna smoke crack or something, because it's like a crack pipe,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the crystals and it's the whole thing, and you're like, oh my god, this could be a lot, you know. And then I'm like sitting there, and he's like, okay, Steph, you gotta get in a relaxed meditative state, just like really relax. And then I was relaxing, and then like, so he gives me the DMT, and I take the first hit. Another thing with DMT, there's no brain alterations. There's 0% of brain alteration. There's no the only thing that's working is the pineal gland. So there's no altered, it's literally just the pineal gland.
It's basically just stimulating that gland.
It's stimulating it
Yeah.
while you're awake
Yes.
and dying. So then the DMT is being released, and depending on the percentage of DMT that you're smoking, it's activating that amount of percentage of DMT within you. So I knew some of this because Jafet was really obsessed with a lot of things. And one of them was the pineal gland, because he had met a Freemason. I don't know if you know what Freemason is.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like Masonry. He had met people in like secret societies that had told him a bunch of stuff. And a lot of that stuff came back to me and I learned a lot of stuff. So I was very open to a lot of these things. And the so then right when like I'm about to take my first DMT dose, I like go and then he's like, okay, just relax, okay? And just really, really just fall into it. And then I like take it and then right away my entire body just gets really, really tight. And like and I can't do anything. I don't want to move. And then I don't know what to do. And then I'm just like in my mind, I'm like going through again every single dark way, every single dark, everything that I have done. Again, I'm like, oh my God, I'm a horrible person. Again, oh my God, again, you're doing something else that is gonna make you really like mentally get fucked up again because like this is like do you see what you're doing? Like look at you. Like look what you're doing over and over to yourself. And then like I get up and I was just like he's like oh and he's chanting Hare Krishna, do you know that? And it's
Mhm.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, and he's just like chanting and chanting and like he has like Buddha poster, Jesus poster, he has like all the deities, he has all of the gods. And and then I'm just like okay, I'm safe, I'm good, everything's okay. Estefania, you're safe, you're good, you're fine, just stop, it's okay. And then he's like, how was that? And I was like, nah, it wasn't. I don't know. And he's like, yeah, I know you didn't enter. And I was like, I didn't enter. And he's like, yeah, you didn't make it in. And I was like, okay. And he was like, I need you to relax a little more. Just relax and trust. Just trust.
She's like, oh, two of the words that are not really my vocab. Sure, go ahead.
That don't even make sense.
Yeah.
And he's like, you just have to try to surrender. And I was like, okay. And he's like, we're going to try this one more time. And I was like, oh, yeah. And it's only like 15 minutes. It's like a 15-minute like thing. And then I do it again. And I gently like, now I'm like stiff and I'm like, but like more gentle. And I like lay down. And then I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like the aurora borealis, just flowing through like the northern lights, going through the mountains and through the meadows and through the rivers, and then like seeing something dark, and I'm like, nope, we're going over here. And we're just gonna be over here, and we're just I can feel you. I'm not gonna look at you. I'm just gonna stay over here, controlling my breathing. I'm fine. Okay. All right. 15 minutes later, I was like, all right, that was nice. And he was like, yeah, you didn't make it. And I was like, dude, what do you mean I didn't fucking make it? I made it. I don't know what I did, but I was like Northern Lights. And he was like, no, you didn't make it. And I was like, he's like, we're gonna try one more time. And I was like, I don't want to. I was like, fuck, do I really need to do this? And he was like, Steph, you're almost there. Like you're almost there. And I'm like, okay, all right. So he sits with me and he's like, I really need you to surrender the fear of death. Surrender the fear of death. It's like, yeah, just release the fear of dying. Everything's gonna be okay. I'm like, was that the fear? And I'm just like, I don't know. I guess. All right. I'm like, okay, so yeah. And then he's like, when you take a deep breath in, hold it in. Really just feel it, hold it in and relax. I was like, okay. I go again. I hold. Oh my God. Even like to this moment, it is the most beautiful, the most amazing, the most precious moment I could have ever been gifted. It was almost like the only way I can explain it is that, like, this is God. And he went, and you're like, no. Oh my God. Oh my God. Wow, I'm an idiot. Oh my God. And then you cry and you laugh because you're like, oh my God. Oh my God. This is it. Like, nothing matters. You, it's like you get a glimpse of the infinite universe for a second. And then it's all of the things that have been eating at you, everything's answered in like a millisecond. And it's like, you're fine. You're doing this yourself. Everything's okay. You're okay. You're good. Do you see? Do you see? We're here. You're connected. Do you see? Do you get it? Do you understand now? You get it? You get it? And then everyone's like, woo, she did. And then I come back and he's like, Hare, Hare, Hare Krishna. And I was like, oh my God, that was so beautiful. And he was like, ah, oh, sister, you made it. You did it. You see, there's nothing to fear. God is always here. And I was like, oh my God. And that was the beginning of my true awakening. That was my true beginning. Because after that, everything changed. I didn't want to live with the two girls anymore. I wanted to live by myself. And I was like, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to manifest it. I decided to do a fast in January of 2019. And I decided that that fast was going to be my way of giving a tithe to God and being like, now that I know that you're really fucking real, I want to get closer. And in that, in me fasting, I ask you for a new job, a new apartment, and a car. I need those things. I need a new life. I just need it. So I started fasting. It was like the 5th of January. And then 10 days later, I have a friend that was like, hey, do you want to come to this thing? It's like they meditate at like 4 a.m. And I was like, count me in for sure. So I go and we meditate, and it's Kundalini yoga. And I don't know if you know what Kundalini yoga is. So there's so many types of yogas, but a lot of the things that happened to a lot of the yogas when they came to the West is they separated God out from yoga. Yoga is a practice to connect you to God. But when it came to the West, there's so many people that don't believe that it became a way to stretch, a way to relax. So Kundalini, there's a science behind every position, and it's not this kind of yoga that you would think. It's yoga where like you are doing things that are like you're in a position for almost like 5 minutes and you're doing something like this and you're holding this position and you're doing something called breath of fire, which is activating. The breath is basically pulling up and activating the DMT within your pineal gland. And you're going for like 4 minutes. And you're doing these kinds of exercises where because you're in this state and you're in it for so long, you naturally start to connect. And it's natural. You just naturally start feeling the essence of God. You start feeling your essence, your power. It's like it's not really about the workout, it's about the workout.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely incredible. And after you do Kundalini yoga from 4 a.m. for about 45 minutes, you chant mantras for 45 minutes. And after that, you feel like you had literally just rolled. You feel like you were in ecstasy that entire time, connecting to God. Every single mantra is absolutely gorgeous, everything. And I remember I was fasted that day and I was like, wow, I feel absolutely incredible. And I was like, the woman that led, like, that held the space, and there's leaders every single day that change, but she would open space and she was like, you know, we ask for you guys to do a promise to yourself, and you can do when you begin the practice, you come here every single day for 40 days. And then after the 40, you keep going until 90 days of waking up at, I would set my alarm at 3:33 in the morning and I would go 90 days. And then once you hit 90, it's 120 days. 40 days of anything that you do every single day, no Sundays off, fully breaks the habit. 40 is the number of completion. Just like Jesus walked 4 days, 40 nights, 40 is the number of completion. Once you hit 90 days of that thing that you've done for the 40 all the way to 90, now it's becoming a part of you. You don't have to, I didn't have to think about waking up at 3. I just did it. I didn't have to think about anything. It just would happen. Meditation, to this day, I sit down and I'm in it. I go because I got to reach those points. I hit 40. I hit the first time around, I hit 40. And then so 90 is a part, it becomes part of you. And then 120 days, scientifically proven, starts to change your DNA. Your DNA starts to like redesign. So I did 85 days the first day, and then on the 85th day, I didn't wake up. So technically, I did 84 days. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. But on my 40th day, I get a call from a wellness center telling me that they wanted to do the interview with me to be their event coordinator. I get that call. Then a week later, I see an apartment and I don't have almost any of the qualifications for like the things that they need or the credit, but the guy just liked me and I get the apartment. In the first week of January, my friend basically without wanting to just give me his car, he was like, give me $1,000 and you can take my car. I bought his car. It broke down within like 2 months, and then I used that car to get my car. And I had my new apartment, I had a new place, I had everything because I was asking God for help. I ended up fasting on only juice for 40 days, which was the craziest fast I've ever done. and I made it to 85 days, but I ended up working at the center where I was doing the sadhana, and sadhana literally means morning practice. It's like morning practice to connect to God. So I was doing the sadhana there, and I was like, oh my God, I need a break. I can't do this again. I can't like be here all day long, all morning long. I need a break. So I took like the summer off, and then I was like, okay, there's something I need. There's still stuff I need to heal. I know there's still stuff I need to heal. I'm going to do it again. So then I ended up doing sadhana for 120 days. And I finished my 120th day landed on 11/11, November 11th. And on that day, the weekend, it landed on a Monday. And on Saturday, 2 days prior, I had, I had, of course, everything divine, and I was behind a car. We were going through a intersection, and it gets hit by another car that just ate his red light. And we had been on a green for a while. It wasn't like it just turned. He was drunk. He hits the car in front of me. Her car flips and slides, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm on my way to work. It's like 8 in the morning, and I'm like, oh my God. I get out of the car, I run over, I park the car, I run to go see like who it is, what it is. Oh my God. And I look, and it's the manager that is the manager of the restaurant that is part of the wellness center. And I'm like, oh my God. And she's like, help me. And I was like, oh my God. All right. And like I started pushing the car. And then all of a sudden there was like 20 people around me helping me to push the car over. And I get the car to flip over, we help her get out. But that moment was so traumatizing. My hands, like I used every ounce of power that I could. My wrists were shaking for days. Like I couldn't, like it was
Oh,
like the trauma, I was like this. The trauma was in my hands, in my wrist for days. And I was just like, gosh, like, like what do I do, And then that next day I get certified for Reiki practitioner. And do you know what Reiki
yeah.
is? Energetic healing. And I get certified, and then I'm like, guys, like I can't practice on anyone, and I'm so sorry, and I don't really know what to say here, like. And there was like, it was 8 of them, and then the teacher goes, okay, everyone, we're all going to practice Reiki on Steph today. And it was like 8 people like connecting and like healing and being vessels. Like it was so powerful. Then my 120th day, I have to come into work. We have a huge event, 11/11, portal opening, meditations, 150 people signed up, like this whole thing. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to be there. And then like I get there, and I had like a whole moment where I went through the light, and I had just like this like flashback. I start crying. I get to my job, and they're like, oh my God, are you okay? And I was like, I don't know. And they're like, sit down and receive. You're gonna receive this meditation. So I sat down, and I just remember sitting there, and her going through like the chakra opening meditation. And when it came to my heart just like it just like opened, and I was like, oh, all I wanted was to be held. I just wanted like my mom. I wanted my sister. I wanted a boyfriend. I wanted a
Your
lover.
dad, you wanted every, yeah.
Anything. I just wanted to be held. Like I didn't have anyone to go home to. I just was like, God, like, I had a friend that definitely helped me, but it's still not the same.
Not the same.
And then I just remember feeling like, okay, like I'm ready for love. Please. Please send me love. Like all I want is love. Like really true love. Like just please. And the next day, my assistant can't make it in to work, and I have to wait for the next event. And then the director's like, "Hey, so I my son is gonna come in and he's gonna help you." And I was like, "All right." And then I'm walking away from her desk, and she was like, "Don't fall in love." What? And she's like, "He's a charmer." Oh God, parents with their kids.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And
You're like, I'll work on that. Okay.
I went to my desk, I sit down, and I was just like, and then he comes in and he looks at me and he's like, and I was like, such a charmer. And then like that, then I go and like I'm like, okay, so like we're gonna do this, you're gonna help me with this, this, and this. And then I like when I went up, I was like, is this my brother? My director was like my mother. She was a mom in every sense of the way. Like, sweetie, are you hungry? I have snacks in the drawer. If you need anything, you go in there, you grab it. Anything you want. Sweetie, are you okay today? No. Okay, let's go take a walk. Let's go talk about it. How's everything going? Like that. That was my director. And that was my mom. And I would call her my work mom. We would text and I'd be like, thanks, mom. Like, so I'm like, oh, is this my brother? And he's like, Shh, what? And then she's like, oh, my kids. And I'm like, weird. So we started working and we just started connecting and connecting. And I was like, oh, who's this like little boy? He's 5 years younger. And I was like, ugh. And then I kept catching him looking at me and eyeing me. And I was like, ah, like, stop. Like, I also don't shit where I eat. Like,
Yeah.
what?
I like that you're whispering to the camera.
And then I remember we were like doing sound check, and I was just like, we're sitting there. He's like, "Oh, my mom is asking how we're doing. Let's take a picture and send it to her." And I was like, "Okay." And so we take it, and then she's like, "What do I put?" And I was like, "Tell her that you're having fun with your sister and that we're doing great." And he's like, "You really see me as your brother?" And I was like, "Yes, yes, I do." Shit, like, excuse me? Yes, you
I
are
like that
going to.
physically you just crossed your arms. You went, excuse me?
I literally was like, yes. So we end up hanging out. We end up really liking each other. And we say that our anniversary is the day that we met because after that, we never separated. We were together all the time. He ended up moving in with me like a month later. I tried breaking up with him 3 times. 3 times. And I was like, no, 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 no. We can't do this. And it was like everything in the book, like every single anything. It was like, no, no, no. There's this is in this. No, no, no. I can't do this because this isn't no. You're young. No, you don't even like working out. I love working out. I can't. You don't even meditate. I can't do this. This is no. But it was like he has taught me so much. It was like when they say love heals. When it's the right person, love heals because they know how to bring something up that needs healing and then love you through it and talk you through it.
Well, and they love you for it, not in spite of. It's like I think we were talking yesterday, and you said they don't. It's not just like your old friends. They, if it was a real, not a real friend, that sounds callous because I understand, but if it was true love, whether
Mhm.
it's intimate or sexual or not sexual, when it's true love, it wants that growth. It wants it wants your pain. It wants
Okay.
the mess. It wants because it wants to see the other side. It wants to be like, how exciting is this? Like, what are we gonna be like? Like, this is fabulous. And that's when you know. But for you especially, you're like, I love it. I tried to break up with him 3 times. And he was
And
just like,
he was like, why? Why do you want to do that though? And I was like, because this is enough. He's like, okay, so we're broken up. And it was like every time that I would try to break up with him, I would cry. And he's like, think about it. Why are you crying? And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, because you know that I really do love you. And I'm like,
shut your face.
oh, like, I don't know what that is. Don't do that. And it's like,
And you're
he's
perpetually probably waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're like, and
almost like,
he's still going to be make mistakes and still disappoint because he's still human and he still has flaws. But you understand it's the intention. I know I've disappointed my wife. I'm aware, and I'm only mildly aware because she's a sweet woman. So I'm only mildly aware of some of the times I've disappointed her. But a big thing she said to me one time, and I really it was a thing that I appreciated, is she said, sometimes it's so hard for me to be angry with you because when you do stuff, it's not out of malice and it's not on purpose. She's like, you are not a vindictive, hurtful, because it's easy to be upset with somebody when they've done something purposeful.
purposeful.
And so I was like, thank you. I'm sorry. Like, I've never said thank you, I've been
Hard.
appreciative and apologized. But, and I think that's part of the reason we're still together after 17 years is because my intention counts. My that I want to see what's on the other side. I'm not good isn't good enough. And yeah, I'm being crabby. Thank you for calling me out. And I didn't want you to call me out, but I really do want you to call me. Because I've sit there and several times, I'm like in my mind done that, already fought for 2 hours and I've played every role and and then I said, why are we even together? And then she would do well, you tell me. And I
Mm,
went, whoa, don't make it real. Whoa, whoa,
mm-hmm.
whoa. I'm going to backtrack this soapbox for a second. Wait a minute, wait a minute. I didn't mean any of that. And and what I really like.
Him.
It's not always showing me a mirror. It's a lot of times it's the meeting me where I am at that minute. And a lot what I get because I'm a hopeless romantic, so I'm the one who's like I created the playlist for our wedding. I'm like, do you remember this song and what we were doing? And she's like, I remember the song because you've sang it to me 4,000 times. And I'll be like, and I'm the one that remembers most anniversaries and most this and that because I'm like, that's what I think about. But I'm also very fallible, and so I'm also like I'm over here like shiny and ADHD and all kinds of stuff. And she's like, did you pick up your children from school? And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't. And I like go back to get them from school. And so her her grace with me, and that's the best term I can because grace is unmerited favor. I don't deserve it. Her grace has been so I love what you said, healing.
It's
Because
healing.
the girl I was dating before her cheated on me, and I found out because she wrote about it and then left the book that was clear. The cover of the book was clear. She left it on the table while she was at work and I was at home. We shared. Um, and she got mad at me when I confronted her because I read her stuff. But it was one of those,
It's like gaslight.
yes, but it was necessary. Like we were talking about, I didn't want to wish anything different. because I still treated her appropriately. She was the first girl that I didn't cheat on. She was the first girl I didn't, like, after we broke up, I wasn't like, okay, where's a hole in a heartbeat? Like I was just
I
like,
got such effect because I was like, okay, so I can be with just one person. I didn't cheat on him. I didn't do anything. I didn't look for anything.
yeah,
Even when I was getting treated horribly, like I still didn't.
same with me. All my friends told me, like, you shouldn't be with them. And I was like, no, I was learning how to love the
I
way I wanted to love, not the way I wanted to be loved, but the way I wanted to love, which is all we can do. Because God forbid, it could happen. I could go over there and she comes to her senses and realizes, yeah, no, I want to go a different direction. Like a businessman, we're going to go in a different direction. And I'm like, well,
We're
that's,
changing the color palettes.
yep. And I went, I want to be in the color palette scheme, please. I want to still be in the scheme. I can be like smaller. I can be in a corner. I can be the old wallpaper that you just be like, it's there for kicks, but I love her the way I want to love her. So I approach it from more of a healed perspective because she never treated me like anybody ever treated me.
Yeah.
Like I would push her away. I would literally push her away and be like, no, and blah blah blah, and she'd be like, well, I still love you even if I'm now over here because you put baby in a corner. I'm just letting you know I still love you the same. And I'd be like, balls, she does. But it was because a part of it was still, the trauma of, am I really worth being loved that way? Am I really worth, can I really trust this?
Mm-hmm.
And understand, like, cerebrally knowing I can do it and physically practicing, like you said, 120 days, practicing doing something the way I truly 100% heart centered feel is not an easy at all. It's simple. Now that I have clarity, it's simple. It is never effortless
Never.
because there's the noise of the world, there's the noise of this, the noise of my past, of my traumas, of all this stuff. And what I like is, you know, one of my concerns was when you're telling me about my experience of smoking crystals, with smoking rock and smoking PCP. For me, two different instances that happened. But what happens is, what I loved is everybody's journey to where they are is just that, their journey. And what I like is when there's a crossover, or but when there's a connection, for however brief it is, even in the briefness, I loved you. You're like, I don't know if you can see how small this is. It's like, I made it small and then I was smaller. It's that we're here now, and now what? In a helpful, encouraging, embracing the way I wanted to be loved. Like when you sat with your stepdad and he was crying and he was drunk, that's how you wanted to love. It would be wonderful if somebody did that for you. But you were like, you know what? I'm going to literally, like layman's terms, mindset. I'm going to control what I can control, which is the process. My process is, I see somebody who's hurt. I'm going to be available to listen. I don't do sympathy. I do empathy. So I feel what you feel, and it is like I will cry with you. I will hold your hand. I will sit with you until you feel better. One of the most transcendent things I ever experienced is when I was struggling at being a better dad, because my kid was just freaking out and screaming, and he was like 2 or 3, and then my daughter was coming, and I was like, how am I going to do this? And somebody said, I don't remember where it was. They said, one of the best things you can do when somebody's struggling is to say, you know, I'm going to sit with you until you feel better. I'm just going to sit here until you feel better. Whatever that looks like, however that long that takes. And watching him not believe it, right? Because he's 2.5 and he's like, well, you usually yell and usually get mad and usually try to control and this and that and the other thing, all the things that don't work. And instead, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to sit here. And you know what? I can see one of those things. Oh, that's what it was. I see you're struggling with something. If there's anything I can do to help, I want to. Otherwise, I'm just going to sit here until you feel better. And
You
I was like,
know,
once again,
uh,
I didn't think that was going to work because I'm like, I've got years of therapy behind me, blah blah. But as a dad, guess how many? I had 2.5, and that was holding on, and I'm the dad.
that's what Martin, it makes me like teary. That's what Martin has done. Like he just waits until I'm okay.
And that's so because he's seeing you. He's like Rosie says, somebody sees me, and it's okay. And it's not just the gorgeous Latina Venezuelan like move around person. It's who's should suck in her gut, or it's I see it all. And to me, that was when I fully understood what God being love is. It was that, wait a minute, so he knows everything I've done, thought, said, whatever, and he still loves me. That's hard to believe. And then all of a sudden, like you said, it manifests all these people. Now, Donna's not perfect. I'm aware, but she's also a human, a spiritual being having human experiences, and she's choosing, knowing who I am, knowing my history, knowing like 9 times out of 10, if this situation comes up, Jeff's going to handle it this way, and it's going to make me mad. But he's also going to be able to talk to it and be like, oh, hopefully next time I'll be better. you know, like you said, he sees and he waits. And one of the things that what I've gotten out of our conversations and what I'm excited to do with my littles is just show up,
Just show up.
just show up. And that stupid saying, showing up to the gym is 90% or showing up to anything. Showing up is hard. People, I always wanted, like, I didn't think I had value until all of a sudden I was 30 years sober. Like I couldn't, I couldn't market myself as somebody who had 30 years experience until I was 30 years experience because 29 meant nothing. I have to say it out loud because it's ridiculous. I started. It's ridiculous. But understanding, like, when I lean into my value of, okay, I'm going to be vulnerable, but you know what? I'm gonna do what I can do and what I want to see. The whole Gandhi, I want to be the change you wish to see in the world. I'm going to be that mental mindset coach, the spiritual mindset coach. I'm going to be the catalyst for people to experience in themselves, be magnificent. It doesn't have to be this, well, yeah, I've already written a book, so now I can talk. Now I have value. I've survived 47 years. I have some value. I've done some things. I have value. I've been intentional for this. And what's funny is I don't know if we ever stop testing. Like, I'm sure you test Martin, and you're like,
Oh yeah.
no, yeah, and like you kind of we gaslight, we do, but it's in a lot smaller,
Well,
right? We do because we'll be like, well, I know this is going to upset him, so maybe I'll just kind of drop a hint, but I'm not going to be super like a-hole about it. But I don't know, is he still nice to me? I do that for the longest time. All Donna wanted me to do was not leave the dishes in the dishwasher. She didn't even ask me to make sure they were all washed, just not in or not dishwasher in the sink. They didn't even have to be in the dishwasher. She was like, "Listen, I know where the bar needs to be, buddy, just not in the sink." And I'll tell you, if I had any perceived slight or something or upset about anything, there was dishes in that MF sink, and she'd be like, now you have done it, and this sweet, wonderful person has lost her shit, and now we're gonna talk about feelings. And I'd be like, I messed up, I'm sorry.
running around, you're like, no.
Yep. 100%. I'd be like, I'm doing dishes right now, you can't yell at me. But that was me because sometimes I get in the scarcity mindset, which I love that you talked about, is I do, and I'm like, when I'm testing, it's because I'm not, like you said, I'm not feeling it. I'm not in connection with it. I'm not aware. I am connected. I have always been connected. I'm not aware of it. Like, of course, Grandpa Bobby has a room for me. Like, hell, like I'm aware. Of course, my friend's gonna say, yeah, here's a car. And then at you're like, well, it breaks. And then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, but now they'll accept it for a down payment on another one. Of course they will. Of course, dude likes me, so I get an apartment. Dang it. And it's, but coming from the, for you, you had a lot of validation that you weren't good enough, external validation that you weren't good enough. Part of the reason why I have a struggle sharing my story is my parents are still married. My dad never laid a hand on me. My mom hit me twice, and I deserve way more than that. Um, they never told me I wasn't good enough. They specifically, explicitly told me I was always good enough no matter what. And I still was suicidal, did drugs, and made poor choices. So most of the time, I don't feel like, I listen to stuff that you're talking about, and yeah, I moved a lot, but I was in the same town mainly because my dad built houses, and so he would sell the houses, and we lived in a house that had 12-seat bar, a dance floor, and a pinball machine, and yeah, and you'd walk across the road. We had a shared private pond. I didn't realize. So when people said, "Were you rich growing up?" I was like, "No." And then my mom was like, "Your dad came home with with a small airplane one time." Yeah, we had money, Jeff. And I went, "Well, then why was I wearing hand-me-downs for my?" And she goes, "Because I never wanted you to be, an arrogant butthole. I wanted you to be grateful for what you had." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." So I still test because I don't come from the abundant mindset as much. I just don't. I forget that the connection is always there. I'm just sometimes doing this. God, why aren't you there? And he's like, I like that. Like, and to me, that's what God has always been for me. It's always been like, I will hold your hand. I will walk through this with you. I see you're going through stuff, but I'm not going to do it for you because 120 days. If you do it for yourself, guess what? Yeah. And then all of a sudden, then you realize, oh, you know, realizing I'm not a victim, but I victimize myself was huge. My dad tried to inform me of it. Donna tries to inform me of it, but it wasn't until I was a kid and having that little experience with my son, it was like, man, that's what God does with me daily, all the time. Like putting you in my life, and what I like is you're getting to
My
this
mom
point.
is calling.
Oh, your mom is calling?
Yeah. Mami. Estoy teniendo un interview with this beautiful man. His name is Jeff. He's
Hola.
interviewed on my life story. He's starting his YouTube channel, but I just wanted you to say hi.
Okay. I love you.
Oh, you're getting a post-COVID hug soon too, young lady. Oh.
What'd you say? What?
She can tell you more. Hi. God bless you. Thank
Oh,
you.
you too.
Yeah.
God bless you.
I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Come on.
But that is why that is why I am still who I am. Because even through all of the turbulence, that was my mother. That was my mom. Even through all of it, that was everything to me. That
Which
was
is
my mom and my dad.
which is funny because the way you described Martin is the way that she just responded to me. Like for real. Like, hi, I love you. I'm like, I just wanted to be like, yes, ma'am, you too. And so one of the things that just popped into my heart was I would encourage you, I goop and all, I would encourage you, well, yes, do some more headstands, but I would encourage you when your man comes in, thank him and like be specific about that because that's I'm sure that once again it's a kaleidoscope of reasons you love him, but it's one of those the fact that you see me and you stayed.
He knows. I thank him all
I
the time.
but you know what?
Even yesterday, like I just like I'll sit with him and I'll just stare at him and I'll just be like, thank you. Thank you for who you are with me. And thank you for your patience and your love. And even like to this day, like I have like my like temper tantrums and like but like
You, the
uh,
dragon? No. I bet you could throw one hell of a tantrum. I'm not even mad about it. I want to be there for one.
never, never. And he just like and then I'm like, go away, go in another room, like go, like please leave me alone. And he's like, I'm like, go away. Please go sit down. Like, go away. Like, I really just want to be alone. And he's like,
And
and he
you're
just
like,
stands and then
okay, I didn't really want to be alone. I just wanted to be
he
sassy for a
keeps,
bit.
and then he'll like get closer and he's like,
Oh, he is getting a hug too. I'm telling you.
he hates hugs.
Well, not soon.
And it's interesting because again, me and him are very alike, but we're very different.
Well, he
Like
just probably has a different love language.
his love language is he's completely different. Like when people touch him, he's like, and I'm like, babe, just like surrender. And me, I'm a 5 minute hugger. Like I'm a
20 seconds for serotonin, sister.
that's yes, yeah. Yes, I know this. And I'm the person that will literally hug you for past those 20 seconds.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
just who I am. I've always been that. And I love it. And then when I joined Satna at the end of the Kundalini, the mantra, you become a family with these people because everyone shows up for themselves every day during the mantra chanting. People are crying. All of a sudden, you hear breakdowns in
Yeah.
parts of the room. Everyone is crying. And like afterwards, when we're done, everyone just looks at each other and just hugs and hugs. And I'm like, this is my place. I get to hug all of you. Oh, it's everything. It's everything to me.
And I think I'm gonna end the recording part on that because that's why I am so grateful that you shared and that I met you. And now we are BFFs, and I've got a dragon friend, which I've never had before. And I get to learn even more Latina stuff. It's super exciting. But it's that amount of being seen and being, there is that. Well, you know what? But until I don't want to be seen because of, this, that, and then just being like, this is it. And that's why there are people because we're like, I can tell you weird things about myself, and you'd be like, that's funny. That is awesome.
Uh-huh.
In a non-judgmental way, because that's how you want to love. Now, agreed, that's how I want to be loved, and I don't want to be judged because to me, I'm like, dude, I got no room. That's the adorbs. If I start judging people, I'm like, oh, oops. Somehow karma is going to be like, did did I hear you say something? Because I'm pretty sure. I'll be like, no, we're good. I am good. So yes, thank you again for taking so much time. It's 1:30. It's 4. But like I said, it to me, this is so invaluable, and it's more than just you being willing to share your story, and which is amazing and heart wrenching and fulfilling. It's like it was. You were the best movie I've seen in years. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because, and I'm not saying you're the complete version of you, because I don't, like you said, I don't think we're complete until we're done.
Mhm.
But I'm so grateful to cross paths with you at this part of your journey, because it's super exciting. Because now I know you're going to be different. Yeah, I know you're going to be different in 3 months to 3 years. I'm excited for the 3 months and the 3 years.
Thank you.
So I'm going to hit stop. Thank you.
Thank you.